Good morning to my one viewer. I see you and I appreciate you being on. We're just going to give this a second to let everybody else catch up. And then we're going to get this stream rocking and rolling. Oh. We are live on ONYX. I'm just trying to get this shared. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I have one viewer on right now. I don't know why they're not showing up, why it's not showing up that you guys are on, but I appreciate you guys being on for this. We're just going to give this another 30 seconds and then we're going to start rocking and rolling, okay? I'm going to go over, I have the ability to screen share now, so I'm going to go over all the data with you guys first on here, and then we can go in a little bit. Now, if you have any questions at any time, please type it in the live chat, and I will love to answer questions. That's what I'm here for. ONYX is the most transparent data there is. I have no problem showing you everywhere that I get everything, how I calculate stuff, how ONYX works. So all questions will be answered. All right, now we got 5 people on. I'm just, you know what? I think we should just get rocking and rolling, everybody. So welcome to the revolution. I am at real_ape_nation. I am the creator of ONYX, and we're just gonna take a little deep dive. So just give me 1 second while I share my screen here. Sorry, sound effects must happen. So once I see this changeover, and I can give you guys, I just gotta wait, there's a slight delay. I can give you guys the data for the day. All right, now we're cooking. All right, so the data that we have for the day, just hold on a sec. I'm actually in a space call. I'm multitasking right now, but I'm gonna pull this up so that way I can see who is on with us on my phone. Oops, we're gonna mute myself. All right, so I have you guys in here. I see the live chat. All right, let's rock and roll. Okay, so what we have here is on the left hand side, so I'm going to show you what the raw data looks like. Okay, this is all the data that ONYX takes in on the call side. So this is literally all the calls starting this morning for AMC for the rest of the month. What ONYX does is it breaks this down and processes it into bite-sized chunks. So here's what the starting of the refined looks like. These are all the open interest over here. This is the last price. This is the total value of these contracts together. So must update. ONYX already updated. Okay, so it takes all that raw data, funnels it into here, and then breaks it down into the Twitter post. That very, very basic data that you guys get every day. So I was talking with Tara last night, and she asked me about unusual whales and how my data compares to them, because they're another service that provides the apes with data. What's cracking? What's up, Scott? What's up, man? Thanks for coming on this early in the morning. So unusual whales. I was checking out their data, and I by no means, I have no problem calling out Ortex or Fintel, and I would hate to call out another, ape-friendly data source. But Tara asked if our data was similar. I'm just going to plead the fifth on that, and I'm just going to tell you that I will tell you where the bulls are lining up, and I will let you 40,000 plus buys. All right, we'll look at that in a second, Scott. I will tell you to look at where he says the bulls are buying, and I will show you where I find the bulls are buying. So this is, I just showed you guys the raw data. Real quick, I'll pop over there again. I don't know if Scott got the chance to see it. He seems to be asking questions, so I'll pop over here. This is all the raw data. This is what it looks like. And then it gets funneled into here, into this side, and then broken down in nice sized chunks. Okay, so we're going to hop over real quick, and we're going to check that AMC buy. Just so you guys are clear, I'm 100% AMC. But I do track other stocks as well. But just for data analysis, that way we can continue to funnel stuff into ONYX and make it better. You said you saw several $40,000 buys come in. Do you know what time they came in at? I'll share this one on my Twitter page so more apes can sub to your channel. I appreciate it so much. You said you saw 40K buys roll in. Let's adjust this out real quick. Let's see if there's any other big chunks popping. So we're going to go to the ever trusty NASDAQ. Pull up AMC real quick. 4:30 a.m. You must be in the Midwest, Scott. I'm originally from the Midwest. I'm from Minnesota originally. So I'm stationed out in the East Coast now. God, I miss it. All right. So let's look at the real-time quotes right now. Real-time trades not available, obviously. Oh, crap. That's right. NASDAQ does not track. Does market hours. Shit. That's okay. That's okay. I have another way to find this. Tape. Time and sales. Pre-market. What time do we have right now? It is 5:30 a.m. I'm 90% positive this is yesterday's though, or last week's. This is Friday's. Any big chunks that popped up? Anything big? 430.31. That's not quite $4,000 or $40,000. Oh, you're in Pittsburgh? That's what I'm talking about, Scott. You're up every day at 3:30. Me too. I mean, I never really go to bed, so. Do you day trade, Scott? Or are you 100% AMC? Not looking to send you some hate, but I'm just curious because if you're a day trader, I got a couple things for you. 500. Now we're getting to some bigger chunks. Yeah, I'm 99% sure this is not today's stuff. Okay, anyways, all right, moving on. We'll look into that at the end of the day. I have an idea what time it was because I can see that. So I'm going to make a note of that. Okay, let's go back to the data. So full-time day trader, my man, Scott. Anytime, if you see anything that I have that you could correct, or if you have any feedback, I would really appreciate it. The veterans, I love the feedback from the veterans because ultimately I am trying to make y'all's life easier with the data that ONYX pulls. So the data that I have up right now, this is the options data from Friday. This is every single options transaction. As you can see, there was a total of 800,000, a little over 800,000 options that traded hands for a total of 157,000 total transactions. So all this stuff actually ONYX gets every single day. So you can see the amount of work that gets put in extracting all this data, analyzing it, running it through the algorithm. Dark pool numbers from Friday as well. I have AMC, I have GME up right here. I keep the other ones in a separate sheet because I don't want to be hated on by the apes for focusing on other stuff. But you know, believe it or not, there is a market out there that reaches beyond AMC and GME, and eventually after the squeeze, so post squeeze, I hope to God that the rest of the apes continue to trade, because it's the way to financial freedom, as Scott can probably tell you. You know, he's been doing this for 25 years. Okay, so this is dark pool data for AMC. This is from Average Ape. He pulls it from two different dark pool sources that are typically the most reliable dark pool sources. So this is the tick by tick on the dark pools. ONYX. So what ONYX does is it takes all of this data, all of this dark pool, the regular trade data, the options trades. I do have tick by tick. Unfortunately, if I pull up the tick by tick right now, my computer will probably crash because it's a very large sheet. This is unusual options activity. I know I focus a lot on options, and everybody's like, I don't know why you like what options even do for the stock price, but just ask anybody who's an experienced trader. Options can actually influence the price of a stock. And the reason they influence the price of a stock is if I buy one contract on a call, that's me having the right to buy 100 shares. If I buy a put, that's me having the right to sell 100 shares. And those shares, so when I buy that, if I buy one that is out of the money, and let's say, let's go to AMC real quick. Let's look at this. Let's look at these calls. Okay. Just making sure I'm under AMC. So if I buy an AMC call with a strike of 145, that gives me the right to buy 100 options or 100 shares at $145 a piece plus my premium. If these market makers are not going to have those 100 shares on hand until this becomes near in the moneyness, and the same goes on the put side as well. So the market makers aren't going to hedge for this yet. So we have these things called gamma triggers. We'll go over here to the gamma triggers. So we have the gamma triggers. Okay, nice little green box right here. So the gamma triggers are simply the auto hedging indicators for the market maker, the computers they use that do their auto hedging. So for instance, for AMC, we're going to be looking for today 53.51, and we're going to go back over to the Webull chart right here. We'll pull up minute by minute. So we're hanging out at pre-market. We're hanging out at, what are we at? Exact 45.14. So if we hit that gamma level, just somewhere around here, we're going to draw a line. Okay, so if we hit this area right here and we consolidate here for about 15 to 30 minutes, you're going to see some hedging start to take place. Now, being that it's Monday, they're not going to start auto hedging big swings. You're probably going to see, so if we hit 53, you're probably going to see, let's take a look here at the calls. They will definitely hedge for the 53, probably cover up that 53.50. As you can see, there's only 520 contracts on open, so it's not a big chunk for them to try and to cover that. But they definitely are not going to cover this 55 on a Monday. That's 15,000 contracts. So if you want to know how many shares that is, just take that 15,000 times 100, and there you go. You have the total amount of volume that has to be produced to cover that. How are these triggers prices calculated? Okay, that's very simple. Here, I'll show you the exact way that we go to calculate these. Okay, so for simple math, I'm going to do it right here in this square. Market price is 46.80. Now, extended market hours do not factor into ONYX because the regular market hours are really the true indication. I say that in air quotes. I know you can't see me doing the air quotes, but I say that in air quotes. So let's say we wanted to know what the, we'll say we'll want to know what the gamma trigger is at 113. Okay, all we're going to do is I'm going to copy and paste, make this box bigger. I'm just copying and simply copying and pasting the calculation. Okay, so 113, we are going to go down. We're going to find 113. So you find the closest one and you never round up in options because you just don't. So we need to know what this last price is, which is going to be, whoops, we're going to 110. So it's going to be, I'm just showing you guys how you guys could do this on a spreadsheet. 101, B101, B101. And then you're going to add the last price for the call and the last price for the put together. That's going to be on E. And what did I say it was? 101. Okay. So there's E101. And then you are going to, it's going to go against B101. No, D101. Yeah, it's going against the strike price. So I'll break this down for you in just a second. D101. And just so we're clear, I did not invent this calculation. This is part of this is, if you look into quant calculations, this is where that is. Okay, so 174 would be our next benchmark. You simply take the last call price plus the last No, don't do that. There we go. Enter that out. Okay, so you simply take the last call price and the last put price, you add them together, and then you divide that against the strike. You take that in times, so that'll give you a percentage. You take that percentage times the strike, and then you add the strike in, and then that's how you get these trigger levels. I can't remember the name of the mathematician that came up with this, but Ken Griffin actually talks about it in one of his interviews. I could try and find the link to that interview, but I've spent hours studying Ken Griffin and his quants and how he processes data and how he views the market. Art of War 101, know your enemy. So that's what I did. And the reverse gamma trigger is simply just the opposite calculation of this. You would minus the strike price from that. And then that's how you get your gamma triggers. Did that answer your question, WW? Just go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And Scott, if you're still on, just go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong on that, please. Not a problem, WW. I told you I am this is the most transparent data that you guys will get. I will literally show you all how to do this step by step, so you don't even need me to post this for you. But as you guys can see, if you weren't on in the beginning, this is just the tip of the iceberg in the amount of data that is crunched on a daily basis. I mean, this is dark pool, this is unusual options volume. This right here is unusual open interest. And I don't just track AMC. We track different things. And then this is also the pure raw data on the options side that is pulled. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. And I know there's more. There's a lot more in-depth technicals to options. I just, with the AMC crowd, we try to keep everything as simple as possible, purely because if we get way, way, way in the weeds on the technical side, then people will just be like, yeah, I have no idea what this person's talking about, so I'm just not going to listen. Or I don't, they feel overwhelmed by the amount of data and the amount of just knowledge it takes to be in these markets. So I have two secrets. I do have to admit, I have two secrets that I hold very close to me, and this is what separates me from the others. Is I have a bear versus bull meter and a banana meter. The banana meter was developed by me. It was a piggyback off the bear versus bull. The bear versus bull meter was pulled from a specific source that is very, very reliable. That is probably the one thing of the transparency side. You got to keep your trade secrets. So those are the banana meter is just simply it's a meter gauged to 0 to 5, and actually it can exceed 5. So ask me how it can exceed 5, because if it only goes to 5, you can't exceed it. There is an apish indicator in there. Anytime that we exceed expectations, ONYX calculates that in as a apish momentum. Now, the banana meter would not work on a stock like Apple. You're damn right, Scott. Maybe I can get a job at a hedge fund. I'm just kidding. I would never work for them. They couldn't pay me enough money to feel slimy like that. Yeah, you guys heard it first. I wouldn't take $1 trillion to go work and screw the 99%. When I joined the military, I took an oath to protect to be part of the 1% that protects the 99%, and I refused to go work for the 1% that shits on the 99%. So just so you guys know, that's where my loyalties lie, and that's why I do what I do here for all of you. Is when I took my oath of service, I truly meant it to extend beyond just the military, and it's vital to me to uphold that across the board. So I will never ever sell out, because I could never live with myself. So this is just the data breakdown. Go ahead, throw some questions up, guys. Like, I would love to sit here and answer some questions. The data's already been processed for the day on the AMC side. So I'm open for questions. I'm still on paternity leave, so when I get off paternity leave, we're not going to have these Q&A sessions like this as often, because I have to go back to being a sailor. And that is it. For those that don't know, or have never been in the military, don't know anybody in the military, being in the service is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, especially me, because I'm in the medical field. It literally takes that 24/7 to a whole nother level sometimes. So I've had the luxury of being on paternity leave now and being able to come and talk to everybody in the mornings. So if you have any questions, please hop on. I'm going to throw up a tweet real quick. ONYX is live, going over data. Whoopsie, fat fingers. You guys can see how I struggle. Alex is going over data and Q&A, because if I don't have transparency in this, then the shills can just call me out all day. If I have transparency, then... Oh, okay, Scott. So you're probably going to like this. And this might be insightful for the other apes. Just give me 1 second. Let me finish sending this tweet out real quick. I want to make sure that I don't really care about followers. I don't really care about I appreciate, obviously, people that follow me, and I appreciate the subscribers. But I just want to share this information with the ape community. Get on and interact. Couple rocket emojis. I think we should do some rocket emojis. Yeah, we'll cover this whole sentence up. Yeah, rocket. Everybody likes rocket emojis. Scott, if you go ahead and tweet it at ONYX, ONYX will retweet it. you guys are watching how I kind of cheat the system here. I retweet my own stuff because I have different followers on different things, and it just helps with the algorithm too. The more times something is liked and retweeted, the more the algorithm starts to feed it out. All right, Scott, I will look for that tweet from you. Once you tweet it out, I will retweet that, like I said. Okay, so I said I was going to show you something, Scott. Okay, so cool thing for those that are interested in the data side when it comes to the funds and everything like that. So let's look at AMC's institutional holders. Here we're going to see exactly, you can see exactly who owns what percentage, how many shares of AMC. All right, Scott, I'm going to just check that real quick because I'm a man of my word. Okay, retweet that. Absolutely. We're going to quote that. Our trader. Let's go. Our media voices. Laying the truth down. Oh, so one thing I want to let you guys know is I'm actually me and Average Ape. So if you guys don't follow Average Ape, please do. Me and him actually we're going to live stream together this morning, and you know my untech savviness would not allow us to, and he actually overtook the original stream. So me and him actually are working to find a better way to live stream together, because ONYX is, I may have created ONYX, but without his dark pool data and analysis and his knowledge, ONYX would only be half powered. So anyways, we're going to run back to this real quick, the ownership. So anytime that you want to know who owns, yes we did, Scott, yes we did. Anytime you want to know who owns how much shares of any company, really any company. Some of these aren't listed on ASDAQ as far as the institutional holdings. You can look at those on the New York Stock Exchange if you have an account. But here you have, you know, Vanguard is the largest holder. Vanguard and BlackRock, which we know that they are for the apes right now. So they're buying and they're gobbling shares up and holding on for dear life. Here's our lovely adversary, Citadel. They increased their percent. Now these dates are obviously really, really delayed. So this was only good as of, you know, March 31st. And as soon as NASDAQ updates that, we'll get back into and re-update our data on our side and put that out. But yes, so you have Citadel right here, owns about 500,000 or owns about 750,000 shares in AMC on the books. Not saying that they're not synthetically shorting or through Robinhood and the other third-party platforms that they utilize, and they're not naked shorting, because we've definitely, me and Average have posted proof that they are doing that. So yeah, you can go through and you can look at it. So there's 305 total institutional holders that have AMC in their portfolios, and there's 115 million shares that are held by institutions. So there, if you know, and this, like I said, this is all as of March 31st, so take it with a grain of salt, please. But Invesco, I have never heard of them until I did a little research and saw this, but they made a huge bump for the apes, so that's good. Let's go. So another thing too is you can see who sold in and who bought, or who sold out and who bought into the positions. And then you can see the total institutional ownership of AMC is, you know, as of March 31st was 22.95%, because the apes own the float. Hey, we got pre-market. Maybe I can find the tick by tick in here. Oh, what do you know? Hey, Scott, what time did you see those $40,000 drops? It's around 5:30, right? 5:30 is when I looked at my time, so it's definitely around that 5:29, before then. 4:30, you said you saw that at 4:30. Okay, let's take a look here. We'll look at 4:30 itself, and then we'll scroll on back. Okay, 4:57 it is. There's apparently nothing recorded on NASDAQ. Let's look from the 4 to 429. Okay. Weird. What do you know? Just what platform do you trade on, Scott? That you saw that on? What broker? You don't have to say it in the live chat if you don't want to. You can send me a DM, but interested to see who you got that or what broker. You use Webull, okay. At 4:30, let's go back to AMC. Let's take a look. See here. At 4th, oh my God, my screen is so huge. 4:30. Level this out a little more. So 4:30, it says we only had 339 for volume. Boom, boom. You know what? I wonder if those were false walls. They were bids coming. Oh, they were bids coming in. Okay. Yeah. So those bids probably got pulled. They were probably just like a false bid because. And I'm gonna go. Trust me, I'm gonna go look and make sure. Like once the tick by tick is fully analyzed for the day, I typically wait about an hour-ish after market close. I mean, ONYX pulls all this stuff, but ONYX will autocorrect it. So as soon as the market does its autocorrection, ONYX will too. But ONYX actually logs all this data, so we take that logged data from the last minute and cross-reference it against the adjusted data. So it's just, yeah, okay. Think we're going to have a big day. So obviously I'm an ape. I'm very optimistic. What I like to see, so for the 4 people that are watching, okay, so when this moving average crosses this estimated moving average, the green line goes above the red line. It's called a golden cross. When the green line, so that's very bullish indication. And if it exceeds that line, I like to use about the 15%, 10 to 15% mark of exceeding these two. That's where the ape market of the apes takes over. So what I would like to see is these time intervals to cross that estimated moving average, and that will portray that'll give us the indication that indeed apish territory. We're in apish territory. So an interesting thing I want to show you guys is is it the 1 hour? No, I don't think it was the 1 hour. Sorry. Delete that line. It's in my way. Anyways, so we have been in a bear analysis here with as far as just doing the basic technical analysis of it. We crossed into that territory at about basically market open on the 7th. The 4 hour candle is still looking very, the 4 hour is still looking very, very bullish. We don't really have that apish separation yet. As you can see, that is in a downtrend. Hopefully it peaks, and it bounces and comes back up. But just for shits and gigs, I hope I just swore on YouTube. See, this is only a 5.9, basically a 6% increase. So we're not quite in that apish momentum yet. This is still bullish. Even though it is on a downtrend, it is still in that bullish area until it makes what's called the Devil's Cross, which is where this green line drops below the red. And of course, as always, if we were to look at, as Trey always says, when in doubt, zoom it out, this is super ape territory. This isn't even, the bulls have gone. Like, there's no more bulls. This is ape takeover. Yeah, the bulls were back here. The bulls were way back here. This is ape land. I don't want to draw a line, but okay, I just do that. But yes, Scott, as always, I'm an optimist when it comes to AMC. On my data side, I'm very very analytical with it, so I will be completely honest on that side. As personally, I'm optimistic on that. But to me, on the data analytics side, I would not start to get excited until I started to see these other time intervals starting that golden cross, and that'll give us that level of indication that we're looking for to truly gauge upward momentum coming out of this downward cycle that we all know is not portrayed correctly. But I mean, you've got opening this morning, or this was on Friday. You can see that drop right there. So there is a lot of push to drive this thing down, as we all know, as there always is. Just in the first minute of market hours, there was 5,500. Thank you, Scott. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that, somebody with 25 years experience, it means a lot to me. One of my models puts us up around 54, possibly. So I don't like putting, I'm not a financial advisor, obviously. I don't give financial advice. I just purely spit data that is compiled. If I had to put an actual price on AMC from what I've seen on the dark pool side, and like cross-referencing the who owns what as far as percentages within the float and the institutional side and the compiling all that stuff, I won't say an exact number, but I would tell you that my number is definitely north of double digits into the triple digits. But on a pure that true value of a stock right now, I would agree with you. One interesting thing, so I want to make it clear, I am all in on AMC. I'm an AMC for lifer, and I don't want to utilize this space to promote other stocks and stuff like that. But ONYX does analyze other stuff. And one thing I want to make you guys aware of is the manipulation that's going on in other places. So Under Armour, Apple, Coinbase, Virgin Galactic, and Oracle have continuously popped up over and over and over as far as having unusual volume, unusual activity, I guess is ultimately what I'm trying to say. Those are things that we keep our eyes on and that we are tracking as well. Here, real quick, let's see here. I wonder if there's any government bonds in here today. Nope, no government bonds this time. We have seen some bonds popping up. Unfortunately, this does not track commodities, but commodities is actually, if you guys think AMC is heavily shorted, and the 10 stocks from Wall Street Bets or whatever the number is nowadays, the commodities market is like, that's what makes me mad. And I don't know, Scott, if you've ever checked into the commodities market, or if you ever, in your day trading experience, have ever poked around in commodities. But that is one market that is, not only is it the most valuable market out there when it comes to securities, but it is the most manipulated and easily manipulated market. Another one too that we've seen a lot of manipulation and odd activity in is the railroad, actually, Union Pacific. So that's another one, and actually Invesco Mortgage. So these guys are the ones that have a big hold in AMC right now, but they have some real unusual activity within their own company. And I got big money. Why MGM is on here? I got big money that it has to do with that fight. So I'm sure we'll see this drop off, and this should not appear again. On how the Fed start to sell corporate bonds today could influence the market. Oh, hold on 1 second. WW. My father was a top commodities trader in Miami for 30 years, and that includes 5 years. That's. I'm sorry, but that is funny. It's terrible, but it is funny because yeah, commodities is just, it's like, that is a whole nother level of corruption. Like the commodities market, I'm surprised the apes aren't pissed about that, because if they're pissed about a movie theater being manipulated, I can only imagine what they would say when they found out coffee is being manipulated, or lumber, or feeder cattle. Okay, WW, you got any insight on how the Fed starting to sell corporate bonds today could influence the market? Obviously, it's going to have an influence on the market. There's no doubt about it. There has to be, because anytime any security is traded, there's influence on the market. But let me get you a better answer to that. Let me just poke around real quick. Okay, so with corporate bonds, one of the things that affects corporate bonds, one of the factors, the economic factors that comes into it, is the interest rates and the inflation, the yield curve, and the economic growth. So corporate bonds the yields of them are influenced by the company's metrics, such as like credit and industry sector. So like the energy business, more specifically on the oil side, that would be a lot more risky, because the oil market is under attack. Not energy itself. Like energy has subsections to it when it comes to commodities. And so like you have oil, natural gas, and oil is broken up to, you have shale, crude, Texas crude, it's broken up into several categories. And then you have like wind farm, and so there's all the energy is broken down into subcategories. And so the yields on the oil side would be high volatility, high risk, high reward kind of thing, where the yields on something like Dominion Energy, that's the one I can think of because it's the energy company that we use in Virginia, theirs would be a lot safer. Coal is another one that would be high risk, high reward. But so the pricing of these bonds yield a multivariant, like multivariant in a way, but there's which causes competing pressures across the corporations, and so ultimately, long short, without going super far deep into the weeds, yes, it will influence the markets. Yes, it could influence the markets in a positive way or a negative way. It just is going to depend. It's going to depend on what corporate bonds get hot and which ones are not. Did I cover that good enough, Scott? In WW, was that an answer to your question? Scott, I'm putting you to work here. Okay, good. I appreciate it, WW. I know. Nobody likes the bond market unless you're Citadel. And Credit Suisse, oh my God, they're going to get just crushed. French Capital revealed that 126 option contracts were traded on ADC. More than 1/3 of them are bullish calls compared. Yeah. So we're tracking the same thing. I mean, here we'll go right back to it. So the total volume for the day for Friday. So this is from Friday. So Wrench Capital was just slightly off in their exact total. You know, they're about 31,000. About 31,000 short in their tick by tick data. And as you can see, so this has it laid out. You know, you got your puts, you got your calls, and these are all obviously different dates. Unfortunately, when it comes to sorting this raw data, ONYX does it for us. But if I had to go through manually and look at it, it's a pain in the ass to sort this because it never sorts right. But yes, it is very heavily bullish on the options side. Wrench Capital is one of the best sources out there. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of you know, like Trey and Matt and the TMI. Big fan of the Masked Investor. Also big fan of Andrew Mo Money. So I mean, there's some good ones out there. Unfortunately, I have noticed inconsistencies with everybody's data. I don't think that they do quite the extensive validation process that we go through with ONYX. I mean, our validation process is extensive. We not just we cross-reference against. So we pull the data from NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. It gets cross-referenced first. So we cross-reference the New York Stock Exchange against NASDAQ against the New York Stock Exchange. We look for consistencies within the market themselves from the data that they report to the from the data they report to the charts and the summarized data in a way. And we find inconsistencies there right off the bat. Then we cross-reference. So then we kind of we dig a little deeper into that inconsistency, and we really ultimately try to find where that inconsistency comes from. Sometimes it's the dark pool. More times than not, it is not the dark pool, and those shares just happen to be missing. The quant computers do all the trading, and it's almost impossible to. You know, Scott, that is true, and that is why we started ONYX. Is the quant computers ONYX? So there's a big if here. We kind of had a come to Jesus moment last night. We found that if ONYX branched away from AMC, we would lose a majority of its support. And until the squeeze happens. Once the squeeze is over, then being able to, the apes that continue to invest, obviously ONYX would be available for them, and it's going to be available for everybody, but we're really not going to be able to take ONYX to that revolutionary next step without funding, because, right now it's two guys and a computer that, 2 guys and 2 computers and an algorithm. And we fund this all ourselves, and I don't make any money off of this. I don't make any money off, I've made any money off AMC because I'm buying and holding, I'm diamond handing this. But the true potential of ONYX is it's far superior to these quant computers. And that's not coming from me, that's coming from several, professional sources. I have a mathematician that is willing to work on ONYX. He's a professor over at UCLA. And then I have a couple of software engineers that worked on the Google AI project that are willing to help develop this into a full scale, full market analysis machine. And this thing is going to crush the market makers' quant computers. It's going to destroy it. Not only that, ONYX is obviously not going to make trades, but ONYX is going to expose all that manipulation. But you're right, the quant computers are literally lightning fast. Just look at the amount of transactions that take place in a minute, and it's just insane when these quants get rolling. Like the amount of, just in a minute's time. And obviously some of these are not quant computers, some of these are, actual retail investors, but just for shits and giggles. In a 1 minute time interval, we have already, 906. We have 690 transactions that take place in that first initial minute of volume, and that's just actually that's only in a second. So 690 transactions that take place in a second. That's just nuts. You look at the dark pool, and it's insane how many transactions take place in a minute. Here, let's see if we can find this real quick. Let's see how many actually took place in this first minute on Friday. Let's see here. Let's find it. 9:31. So in 1 minute, there was 2,462 transactions that took place. That's just insane. That's insanity. And the thing I like about so this is the only I'm gonna be completely transparent with you guys. This is this transaction tape right here, this ticker tape. This is the only third-party data that we pull that is non-validated, because they, as far as I know, they are the only ones that report this data this way. And that's SIBO. So that all comes from SIBO live volume. Anybody got any questions out there? Come on now, pick my brain. Pick my brain. Here, look at the dark pool. There's 2,400 trades that take place in a freaking minute. And this is not retail side. When do we Lambo? Tim, we can't put a time, a day, an exact number on the squeeze. We can't, because in all reality it should have happened, but it didn't. So it hasn't yet. So we don't know. All I can tell you is what the data tells me. The data doesn't give me a day of the week. Is there going to be movement this week? In AMC? Yeah, obviously there's going to be movement, whether it goes up, down, or sideways. But I'm assuming you're asking, is there going to be upward movement in AMC this week? And blame the SEC, they're not cracking down. Yeah, no kidding. Scott, I tweet the SEC every freaking day, my data. I send it to them in a DM, and, they just never look at it. Okay, so upward momentum. When in doubt, zoom it out. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at where we're tracking here. We're going to look at the daily. So on the daily charts, we have this nice curve that we're riding, and we're starting on the downside of this curve. So what do you think AMC coming off the threshold list? Here's the thing about the threshold list. Somebody had asked me this, and I told them I would tweet out, and I completely forgot until you just brought this up. The threshold list, anything traditional and fundamental really does not apply to AMC. I mean, Matt Coors draws rocket ships on his chart, and it just follows the rocket ships. So, the coming on or off the threshold list for AMC, to me, it doesn't mean anything. It's just the markets doing their required work. But to me, it doesn't mean anything, because AMC does not follow a damn thing when it comes to the traditional and technical side of things. It just does its own thing, and that's because it's so heavily manipulated. I mean, if we were to talk real traditional trajectory, I mean, think about it like this right here. When we had this huge gamma squeeze, so for those that don't know, this is a gamma squeeze. Are the big scammers in that head? Yeah. Oh, so I'll get to the big banks in a second. So, I mean, if we were to talk squeeze trajectory, where the hell? We're just going to say here. We'll just hypothetically, we'll start here on the 24th. We'll say the apes bought the entire float about here. So we saw a basically 500% uptick in this short little span. This is the 24th of April. Of May to the 2nd of June. This should have continued on its upward trajectory. I mean, we own the float, so how can it not? Because, so let's look at this volume here. 750 million, $750 million in volume. The next day, a little, almost 600,000. So it's almost like the entire float of AMC was traded. I didn't sell any shares, and I know most of the apes out there didn't sell any shares. So how did 2/3 of the volume just disappear the next day? And that's simply due to the amount of shorting that's being done. And naked shorting that's where this flushing of the stock and the trajectory comes in. I mean, look at back-to-back days. We had this literally covers that upward momentum, and then you have a slight uptick, and then another red day here. We had good volume, but this is manipulation at its finest right here. Like, if I had to pick a single example of manipulation in a stock, it is this day right here. It is the 3rd of June, because the 2nd of June, like I said, $750 million, boom, turned around in 2 days, and it's completely dumped. So I didn't dump my shares. I know, Tara Bull, who owns 11,000 AMC shares, she didn't dump. So, I mean, 11,000 shares is barely a freaking dot on here. But, like, the apes didn't sell. So where did all this volume come from? Obviously, once the we also know the BlackRock didn't sell, neither did Vanguard. So who dumped this stock? We obviously know that Mudbrick Capital dumped, but they didn't have a significant amount of shares to dump this like this. So I mean, that's just manipulation right there, and that's what all this is. So to answer your question, N Hill, will we see momentum this week? Who knows what the market makers got up their sleeves. probably trying to, suppress the price again because that seems to be their trend here. Apes keep fighting back. If I had to say, though, we have a nice one. Obviously, this is a touch point, so technically there's 3 touch points right here, but I don't like the back-to-back touch points. I think we're going to get a nice bounce off here. We're going to come back up to... I think we're going to come back up. So I think this is our channel that we're going to hang out in here. CWW didn't sell at all either, so... Scott, I know. Well, they had that one hedge fund manager jump off a building. So I think that we're going to continue to see this price drop over the next couple of days. If I have to be completely honest with what the data is telling me, that we're going to see this drop somewhere around there. Who knows? I'm just making up lines. And then we're going to see, so this would give us, so we would have 1, 2, 3 nice little spaced out touch points, followed by that retest of that, ultimately that upper level of these touch points. So we have, in the famous words of Trey, we have a George W. Foreman. And we don't just have a George W. Foreman, we have a George W. Foreman on a massive level, on the big time interval level. So, I mean, a George W. Foreman in the 1 minute is cool. A George W. Foreman in the 5 minute is cool. George W. Foreman in the 1 hour is cool. How about a George W. Foreman in the frickin' days? I mean, over the course, this is like big. This is like, I mean, Scott, in your 25 years, have you ever seen a frickin' triple top or a triple bottom setup like this on a day chart? I mean, Jesus, Martha, if this thing can follow this, I'm going to take a picture of this line because as Trey says, when you draw lines, it tends to follow. This is what I'm hoping. Jimmy, welcome back, brother. Just so you guys know, Jimmy is one of my longtime supporters. I've been doing this so long, but Jimmy, I appreciate you coming back on. You're good. It's great. You're not late, man. You're just coming into the party. I got about a half hour left, and then I got to go pick up groceries because my wife is going to get mad if I don't do that on time. Scott, have you ever seen, like I said, back in the 90s, I seen it right before the NASDAQ crash. Oh my God. Well, Scott, hopefully you don't, hopefully that doesn't happen to you again at all, ever. I'm hoping this W bottom just sets up a gnarly, massive momentum swing. Just gnarly. Could you, Scott, just in your not necessarily professional opinion, but in your trading experience, that's the beginning of the inflated tech stocks. Yeah, that'll happen. We get this retest, which AMC has been notorious for a not triple but a quad check on the 4th time it passes. So this could, I wouldn't really, I wouldn't count this or I would count this one and I would count this one in the triple touch. I wouldn't really count consecutive days in that, just because we like to see a little more consolidation. But I mean, we have a nice little channel here that we're hanging out in. I mean, nobody likes to hear $38. Everybody likes to hear $63, but nobody likes to hear 38. But if this is that channel that we hang out in and we're consolidating in, I mean, this is right where we need to be. We need to spend that time in here to gain that ape swing up. And if apes don't sell at 30, whatever this is, 38,760 or 38.76. If apes don't sell here, obviously the price is going to go back up. We all know that. And maybe my line's a little too unforgiving, a little too conservative there. Let's be a little liberal when applying this line. Honestly, if you want my personal opinion on a time, I hope this thing lasts this holdout lasts a year. Show me the most resistance at 47. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Let's just go back to ONYX real quick. Let's look. Boom, 39.49. That's where our reverse daily gamma trigger is. Now 47 as a whole. Or sorry, the not the reverse gamma, the upward gamma. Right now it's 53.51. 47 for the day. There's like no wall. We really have no support pushing on the option side there. Our big savior, like I said, is going to be around that 53.50 mark, because it's going to cause a lot of hedging. We're at 46.50 for the opening bell. I mean, they're going to have to hedge all these. Simple math. Simple math at its finest. 46.50. All the way down to, you said, I said 53. Shift. I mean, total transparency. Everybody gets to see. Boom. We're even going to throw a comma in this bad boy. There's 3 million shares right off the bat. Yeah, that's true, Scott. That's 100% true. Hey, Jimmy, you got any questions for me today? Come on, brother. Give me a tough one. And how much wood does a woodchuck chuck? If a woodchuck could chuck wood, it would chuck all the wood. So there's my dad analogy for the day. I know the answer to that question. So give me a good one. What do you mean? Yeah, this right here. I mean, this is just basic. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it. I'm here all week with jokes. So for those that don't know, I'm a urology tech in the Navy. I'm a medical provider, and I specialize in urological surgery and procedures and patient care. So I have dad jokes and penis jokes and vagina jokes for days, literally, because I work and see that stuff all the time. And how I do my patient care is I take the Patch Adams approach to medicine, and I just treat people with humor. And it seems to work. Hit the Tesla squeeze in the stock split, went from 440 pre-split to 500. I mean, I don't doubt it. We track Tesla. We don't really analyze Tesla too heavy. So I want you to think about this. All of this data gets plugged into an algorithm, but that algorithm needs constant updating and scaling, and all this data has to be harvested. Now it's hard. A lot of this is harvested through script. I used to have to go through and do this all by hand. Literally, I used to do this every single one of these by hand, including the tick by ticks. So because of the amount of data that is processed, I go through and review the public side of the market. Average Ape goes through and analyzes the dark pool side. So for us to be able to sit and analyze the other stocks as heavily as we do AMC, to be as accurate as possible, we really need to get in that beta phase of ONYX, but that requires quite a bit of funding, and we don't want to we don't want to take away from the squeeze. We don't want to take away from the from everybody, because we're going to fund ONYX through crowdfunding. We want it to be funded by apes, because this is a product for apes, and we're going to make it as cheaply as possible, like the monthly cost of ONYX as cheap as possible. And how we're going to do that is by keeping investors out of it, because investors want money, and ONYX is not about money. ONYX is about making the free market free. And so in order to raise that capital to be able to get ONYX to that level of where it's exposing manipulation, it's analyzing every stock, it's giving us real indicators and signals that across the board, not just in AMC. It's a big undertaking. We have an entire network architecture that needs to be developed. I mean, this is literally ONYX's development will be the first of its kind. And that's just a big undertaking, and I don't have the money personally to fund it. Nor does the apes that are working together to produce this information for the rest of the apes. So we want to make it a crowd-funded effort, because ultimately this is for the apes for a reason. This is your guys' information that you guys deserve. This is the transparency that you deserve. This is the exposure of the manipulation and illegalities you guys deserve. Somebody asked me last night, like, if you're already exposing that stuff and nothing's changing, why should we care? We're talking about one stock, literally just one stock, and that's AMC. Can you imagine? And we talked about this earlier. Is the level of manipulation on the commodities market? It is on a whole new level. So, and that doesn't even include manipulation in bonds. I mean, like, this is much bigger than a movie theater stock. This is a global scale level of fuckery that is taking place. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna let my dog out so he quits barking. You want to meet the friends? Here, I'm going to show you guys. I take great pride in my two boys. I'll show you one of them real quick. Hi, buddy. Hi. If you've never heard of this dog breed, they're called Blue Lacies. They're the state dog of Texas. They are super cute and loving and friendly. They are like the prettiest dogs ever, aren't you? Yes, you are. If you guys really want to know what who's in charge of ONYX, it's this guy. He's the boss. Yep, sniff the microphone. All right. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Good morning, Richard. I am new to investing and I don't understand too many terms yet. If you could explain reverse gamma, please. I'm wondering what it was. Absolutely. Give me 1 quick second. I'm going to go put him outside before he pees all over. Okay. Richard, you asked about the reverse gamma. Okay, so anytime that we have, so think of Newton's law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that is universal across the board. Here, let's look at the reverse gamma. So on gamma is bullish. Okay, so gamma and bullish means going up. So gamma triggers are going up. So this is what we look for the levels. Think of a ladder. These are the rungs in a ladder that, and as we climb higher, we get higher up the ladder. Yes, that is true, Scott. Investopia is a really good resource too. You can literally get lost for weeks on end clicking through the different hyperlinks. It's like Wikipedia, but for investors. And when Wikipedia first came out, you could just get lost clicking through and being like, holy shit, I didn't know any of this stuff. It's the same with Investopia. But so reverse gamma triggers are the bearish indicator. they show us the opposite effect of the bullish gamma. So if for example, so we're starting at 46.80 this morning. So 46.50 is our strike price. This is our strike price right now. So this is how much. So this is the level. So this is a giant ladder, and this is one of the levels this is one of the rungs on the ladder, and this is where we're at. You never round up when it comes to options. You always round down, or to the closest number. So if the bears were to push this price down to $39, you would see this. Here, let's do this. Let's add this real quick. Do a quick calculation for you. I believe in transparency. I will walk you through every single step. Oh, that's not what I was looking for right there. To $39. So you would see, times 100, obviously. This would be the share volume. Add a comma in. You would see 4 million shares that would have to be covered, as opposed to the 3 million right here. Let's just move that right there. So bears. Oh, it's like, let me get back to my colors. This is good. Bears, bad. So they get red. So as you can see, the reverse gamma favors that like if the bears were to push that price down, it's very favorable. So here, let's just do this too real quick. Equals. What cell is that? That's J45. J45 minus, or divided by J44. Nope, I suck at life. Nope. Okay, well, I tried. Oh, that's because I didn't put it in. Duh. I didn't put it in quotations. And it still didn't work. Anyways, whatever. You can just go ahead and divide that out by yourself. And I'll actually do it on the calculator here real quick in front of you guys. That way you can see. Okay, so if I was to find out what percentage the bears own this by. I screwed that up, didn't I? Jesus. Sorry, I never sleep. So there's a 25% difference between these two, okay? So the bears, they hold a 25% edge right now when it comes to the gammas. So they hold that edge. So right now, if I had to tell you which way this was going to go, but purely based on the data, is in theory we should get a 25% bearish swing, which means that we would see a drop in the overall stock. Now, options are only just a piece of that puzzle. When it comes to trading, they don't indicate the whole picture. They don't indicate, they're not the all telling sign, but there's a lot of volume that gets hidden within these volume, or within these options. So, we take everything with a grain of salt, and you do your own DD, but at the end of the day, here's 4 million shares that will affect the price of that stock. Now, if we look at how many, so that's 39. So if we look at how many calls are in this window, between $39 and $46. That was not right. What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't times it by 100, that's why. We would see our level of support for versus the resistance levels right here. And then we'll do the same thing for the 63, 49 through 63. We'll do the same thing for the puts over here. 49 through 63. 49 through 63. So as you can see, there is no fight. Oh, I gotta do that times 100. So when you compare the two right here, there's no fight. You know, I mean, we put up a little bit of a fight here, a little over 50% here. They're a little over 50% here, but once you get that, the thing is with the apes, once you get this momentum going up, you will see more buying. Scott, I appreciate all of your input today, and you have a good day. We'll definitely see you next time. I appreciate you. Go get your good pump in, all right? So is anybody, Richard, did I answer your question as far as what a reverse gamma is? I want to make sure that, I will always ask, to make sure that I covered your question or answered it before I move on. Also, if you guys didn't know, gamma is one of the Greeks in the options chain. So you've just checked off learning one of the Greeks, and that's gamma. All gamma is when a gamma itself, a gamma squeeze, is when a significant amount of calls fall in the money and force hedging to cover those calls, which increases volume, which in return amps up the price. And the reverse is the same but the opposite side. It ramps up selling and decreases the price. All right, Richard, you're new to trading. Hit me with another question. Anybody else on here got any questions? Come on now. Come on, guys. Hit me. Got about 15 minutes left in this live stream, and then I got to go pick up groceries. Let me see if I can see who's on here. Well, we have, all it shows is I have two people on here. Richard, you, and Scott. But Scott's leaving. So Richard's just me and you, man. I hope there's more people on here, but I can't tell. Jimmy's here. God, I don't understand why this doesn't let me see who's here. Yeah, it does lie. It's kind of like the charts. They lie to us. Jimmy, Jimmy, you're always here. I appreciate you. Notification. Anybody got any questions for? Oh, hey, Richard, I'm at work right now listening. I just had a chance to ask that question. Okay, Richard, if you have any more questions, just throw me a DM or a tweet. Like, I have no problem covering stuff. I have no problem answering questions. Teaching is actually a passion of mine, so being able to pass knowledge on to others is very important to me, because knowledge is only as good as how you pass it on. If you know something that nobody else does, it doesn't do anybody any good. Jimmy, give me a question, damn it. Come on, Jimmy. Hit me with something good. You know what, Jimmy? I'm gonna do you a solid. We're gonna, your last name, Samsung. Let's take a look. Let's look and see what Samsung's got popping off here. Oops, I just totally smacked that mic. I'm sorry if that was loud. Wow, we got nothing on Samsung, guys. Okay, so let's take a look real quick at what BlackRock. So BlackRock is the current major institutional shareholder of AMC. Let's take a look and see what they got cooking in there. They own a ton of Bank of America. Let's take a look-see and see what that... Let's see what Bank of America's got cooking here. See, these are the rabbit holes. You just start clicking buttons and you start like, oh my God, what's going on? Okay, so N Hill, you're here for the first time, looking for new insights, and wouldn't hear anywhere. I wouldn't hear anywhere else. Oh man, the pressure that is mounting with that statement. Okay, so that's a lot of pressure on me. So by MMAT, you mean you want to talk about metamaterials? Is that correct, N Hill? I'm just making sure that that's what you would like to talk about before. Torch. One of my favorite stocks. So you want to know about the reverse merger. Let's take a look-see here. Oops. Torch. Let's pull Torch up. Oh my God, I can't spell today. All right, so we got Torch. Let's look at Torch here real quick. There's no trade data available because okay, so that's 622. Okay, so N Hill, I think it's important that we should talk about how a reverse. So I wonder why shorts haven't closed their positions after merger. Yep, Torch, it's closed. Okay, so N Hill, let's talk basics about a reverse merger. I'm sorry, you guys got to look at my screen because this is how I see your comments. So a reverse merger, it's also called a reverse takeover. It's a form of raising capital. It's when a private company becomes public by purchasing control of a public company. So a company that is not traded, hasn't launched an IPO, buys another company that is traded, and so that company in de facto becomes public. The shareholders of the private company will receive the largest ownership, and they ultimately control that board of directors. So the long and short of it is it can take a long time. So that company that's being bought out typically is struggling, which is why it's for sale and allowing another company to buy it. You could take a long time to see a turnaround on that investment. So another thing that with reverse mergers that I guess kind of suck is when that company that is private taking over that public company, they have to conjoin their records, like their financial records, employee record, all their records. And sometimes, that's like you going and sitting at somebody else's desk. You might not be able to find anything. So the sloppy record keeping, or just not compatible record keeping, or that record keeping just can be sloppy. So it's a very time consuming process when reverse mergers happen, as far as like being able to see a good ROI, but the reward, it's a very, very the reward, the risk to reward. I mean, the rewards can be insane. I mean, you could watch a reverse merger take a company up big time, but then that private company that now became public, all of their information now is available to the public. So if they were, fudging the balance sheets or trying to make things look prettier than they were, it can cause a big downtrend and a crash and burn scenario. Another thing too is like a way to be alert to see when a reverse merger is coming or potentially coming is really just watching the financial media, because you'll see potentials of reverse merger happening. You want to look for companies that are trying to raise capital, and not just small capital, like big time capital. If I had to give you a good guideline on reverse mergers to watch out and possibly invest in, obviously this is not financial advice, this is my own personal opinion, but I'd be looking for a company that's trying to raise anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million in capital, and has at least $20 to $30 million in revenue their first year of IPO launch. Did that answer your question, N Hill? Waiting for somebody to give me a reply if that answered the question. That's ultimately what I'm here for. And Jimmy, why haven't the shorts closed their position after the merger? Why haven't the shorts covered their position on AMC? Because they haven't. Nobody's forcing them to do this stuff. Nobody's forcing them to cover. Nobody's forcing them to be accountable. Yes, the SEC passed the regulations and they pass rules and guidelines and all this other crap. But they still aren't forcing them to do anything. when do they cover the shorts for Torch? When the SEC forces them to, or their lenders, ultimately margin call them. I have a strange theory that probably a lot of other people share, that when AMC squeezes, a lot of other squeezes are going to happen. Rules are meant to be broken. Yeah, unless it comes to my damn money. FINRA. First of all, I would like to say thanks, Manuel, for coming on. I'm sorry for basically just botching your name. The CAT system. What do I think about it? Okay, I am not a big fan of. I'm not getting political, so please nobody shoot me. I am not issued special dividend to force the issue. Yeah, so yes, they did issue a special dividend, but ultimately the shorts are not going to cover until the shorts are forced to cover. We clearly seen that with AMC. They have had a short position for what feels like 100 years, and they still haven't covered. So, but on the I am not a huge fan of government regulations. Obviously, the stock market could definitely use some, because we see what happens when something is taken advantage of to the next level and isn't accounted for. But for those that don't know what the consolidation audit trail is, the CAT, it's based off the SEC Rule 613. It's basically just an audit trail that collects and accurately identifies every order, cancellation, modification, and trade executed for all exchange listed equities and options across all U.S. markets. That's literally what ONYX is doing right now, specifically with AMC, but that's what ONYX wants to do. That's what we want ONYX to be able to do in the future if we can secure the funding to implement its full system. If a government agency, a wise man once said, I'm here for the government and I'm here to help, that is the scariest thing ever. Even if you're not a fan of Reagan, that's still a scary statement. And I work for the government, so and that SEC Rule 613, that's the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. So that rule has been around for literally ever. But that audit trail, like the SEC can see everything that's going on right now. What does an audit trail? What's an audit trail going to do? What is the SEC going to do with an audit trail? Are they actually going to do their job? Who knows? What I would think, ultimately, the biggest thing that I would like to see, if you can check out the MRIN. Do you think you can get back above 20? All right, we'll take a look at that real quick while I talk about this. Marin Software. Okay. What I would like to see is every single transaction that takes place should be transparent. Who is buying? Who is selling? If I buy a stock, it should say I bought it, and everybody should be able to see that because it's a publicly traded company. It's public information. It's public knowledge. All the stock market is supposed to be transparent. It's not supposed to be hiding, all this stuff. So being able to actually see where the transactions are coming from and who is doing them, as far as a buy, sell, and clear, would make more sense to me. That would be the biggest step in making the free market free. Do you think it will get above 20 again? I mean, we're still on this. Can you see this, Richard? We're still on this upward tick here. I mean, I'm not saying that this is good financial advice, but when did this company launch? Let's look and see where the IPO day is on this. Oh my God, this thing's been traded for a long ass time. So, what is this thing's all-time high? Oh, when it launched, of course, in 2013. So, this is a not so good trend for this company. Let's see what their quarters look like. Brown breakdown. So we're still under. Definitely still under. We have a breakout in the day. I mean, definitely it could recover. Not saying it will, but it definitely could. Let's see here what these calls look like. I don't really care about the 4 days away. Let's look at this one. There is honestly not a lot of interest in this stock, it appears. What is this thing's volume at? 17. I mean, it's got some big volume. But its average volume over 3 months is 21 million. And when did this trade? When did this thing spike? 706. So I mean, it's been trading up. Okay, so let's look at it like this, Richard. So on the 23rd, you had 7 million shares, and then this is all low volume, very, very low volume. It's a very low volume stock. So I mean, if this thing starts to cool off, you're just going to see, a drop right back down. I wouldn't say MRIN is a short squeeze. It could have been a gamma push, or this could be a pump and dump. I would have to see the short interest on this. Let's see if I can find the short interest on it. All right. So the last short interest reported to the market was on 6/15 of 156,000 shares. When did that pump up happen? When did that ramp up? 6/15. So right here. Yeah, I understand. It's got a tiny float. But I don't know. To me, there's just not a lot of institutional interest in it. I mean, yes, Citadel is in there. I mean, anywhere they have their head makes me nervous. Tells me that there's something happening. Yeah, so the thing you got to be careful of when you see these short interest spikes is the old analogy, watch my hand, what I'm doing with my hand, and don't look at the other one. It's the magic trick, right? Look what you see happening is not what's really happening. So, these hedge funds could just be trying to portray false squeezes to pull people out of AMC and GME. So, I would be very careful on that pump. I don't see enough evidence. I get that Friday it said it was 190% short interest. But I don't see enough. There's not enough power players in this to be shorting at this, shorting this thing to make it an insane level. So Richard, if I was you, 1736, you got in at 15. My personal, if it was my money, I'd be pulling out with the profit that I have right now. That's just me. That's what I would do. Let's just hope AMC follows this curve. I gotta cut loose, guys. Any last second questions before I cut loose? And just let me say, guys, I appreciate all of you being on here. I appreciate your guys' support. It means the world to me, far more than you guys probably can know. I appreciate you guys coming on here and asking questions. I appreciate, and Hill, you're new to this, and, I appreciate you coming on here. Here's a little piece of insight that I'm going to give you that you're going to get nowhere else. The manipulation of this market expands far greater than the ape nation wants to comprehend. It's a general consensus that AMC is the ticket. It's the hot ticket item, which I'm not disagreeing with. But there is massive amounts of manipulation across the board. It is far bigger than AMC. It's far bigger than AMC and GME. It's far bigger than the Wall Street Bets, favorite picks of the day. So the insight that you're not going to get anywhere else is if we want this market to change. The apes are always like, we're going to change the market. We're going to get our attendees. Yeah, that's great. I pray to God that we get our attendees and we change the market. I'm 100% all in on AMC, but do know that if we as a movement do not go after all of the manipulation, we are just cutting one head off the hydra, and another one is going to grow back, and we're not taking care of the other ones. So this is expand your get out of the tunnel vision that is AMC is the only thing forever and ever and ever. Yeah, GME can definitely squeeze again, 100%. I think Roaring Kitty is a damn genius, and he is holding on for dear life to GME. He is all in on GME, and it's important, that he if he believes in it, I believe in it. And I've seen no indication why it can't, because they still haven't covered GME. But that's the insight I want you to take away. And Hill, is that was a question you asked, or that's a statement you made earlier, is you want to get insight. You aren't going to get it anywhere else. And there's your insight. Get rid of the tunnel vision. This is a far, far bigger issue than what we are, that what everybody is focusing on. This is much bigger. This is on a global scale on all levels of all financial securities. It's really the entire financial system across the board, not just securities. It's the financial system across the board globally. So, don't get tunnel vision. Continue doing your own DD. Continue growing when it comes to being being financially intelligent, and just keep your head in the fight, but don't get that tunnel vision, because the enemy in front of us is not the only one. It's the enemies that are coming around our flanks. So we got to keep an eye out. We can't just focus on the one ahead of us. We have to focus on everything, which, I'm not trying to take away from AMC. But I appreciate all of you. Richard, I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate it for all the new people coming on and listening today. Jimmy, as always, you're my boy. I appreciate you being on. You're my rock, man. You're my rock. You're always here for me. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Go on Twitter, follow at Analytics ONYX. It's ONYX Analytics is what the name will pull up. Please go on there and follow ONYX. I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making sure that you guys get the right data. And follow at real_ape_nation. That is my personal Twitter handle. That's where I tweet out, stuff. But until tomorrow, guys, stay in the revolution, because it's here.